At best, Hooks and Needles is a company that lacks transparency and selectively provides information that makes them look good to consumers. At worst, they are a company that steals from independent designers, lies to consumers, and hides who they really are. Hey y'all, it's Chris, and this is Creative Loops. This is my channel where I explore all things yarn, crochet, and sometimes knit. You've seen me unbox and review Hooks and Needles subscription boxes before. I've shared what I've liked, what I didn't like, and left it at that. But recently, I started digging a little deeper into the company itself. And in this video, I'll take you through what I found. The ownership, the reviews that don't match up, the responses I've got when I asked about the patterns, and why this all matters for us as makers. I'm not here to tell you what to buy or what not to buy. If you love the boxes and feel like you're getting a great value, then great. That's your choice. But I want to give you the context to make sure that you're making informed decisions. Let's start with the ownership, because that's where I started, and I thought I would finish there because I didn't think it would be that hard to identify who owns Hooks and Needles. Initially, I was thinking it's maybe part of a larger company, maybe a yarn company owned it as a smaller subscription service that it offered. I didn't think it would be this hard to figure out who owned this company. Looking on their website, on their About Us page, is where I started to see a few red flags. And I'm sure some of you are probably screaming at the TV or device, whatever you're using to watch this video on, and saying, now Chris, in all of your other reviews, there weren't any red flags. There were. A quick look at their About Us page shows a company that has some small family roots and has grown out of a family's desire to share crafting with other people. But does it? The first thing that stood out to me was, why are they using a stock photo instead of pictures of people in the company? Why doesn't their About Us page show us who leads the company, maybe share pictures of the family that started this company? I decided to look and see, where is their business registered? On their Contact Us page, they have an Indiana address. So I decided to look at the Indiana State Business Registration. Nothing came up for Hooks and Needles. So again, that told me maybe it is a smaller part of a larger company, and so I'm looking at the wrong thing. So instead, I went to the trademark search. The official trademark registration shows Hooks and Needles is owned by Mrs. Quality BV. This is a company based in the Netherlands. They do list a Netherlands address on their website. So this isn't really hidden, but it's hard to spot if you're looking at this Indiana address that's right up top. You have to really scroll to the bottom to see this Netherlands address. Digging a little deeper, looking into now, who is this Mrs. Quality BV? On Florida's business registration, Sunbiz, Mrs. Quality BV is filed as a foreign profit corporation, and their hand-filed paperwork lists Alexandra Bake as the president. This person is also listed as a director in the Dutch Chamber of Commerce records for Mrs. Quality BV. So across both the Netherlands and the US, this person is legally tied to the company at the highest level. There are a couple other companies that come up, both on a trademark search as well as looking at some of the filings that they have. This Alexandra Bake and Mrs. Quality BV are also connected to another company called Mindful Souls BV, a company called This Month's Crafts, Within the Divine, and of course Hooks and Needles. All of these companies are monthly subscription kits. Mrs. Quality is a monthly subscription kit that provides both quilting, fabrics, and notions in a monthly box. Within the Divine focuses on religious and spiritual devotional messages that are sent out on a monthly basis. This Month's Crafts bills itself as a monthly subscription that introduces you to a new craft every month. And of course, we all know Hooks and Needles provides both crochet, knitting, and amigurumi patterns and kits every month to your door. So all of these businesses focus on a specific thing, providing a monthly kit to consumers on a recurring basis. None of this is inherently negative. If anything, it shows that the owners of this company built a layered business with international and US connections. And if you read their About Us page, they lean into the story of being a small family business. And that might still be true. They could be a family-run operation that manages multiple smaller businesses underneath a larger umbrella. So on its own, this isn't anything to write home about. It's just context. But what stands out to me is the impression they're trying to give. When you're looking at this About Us page and it mentions a small family business, it wants to give you this impression that they are this small family-owned business. And they lack the transparency to show you how all of these businesses are connected, or that all of these businesses are even connected in the first place. You have to do your own digging in order to figure this out. And does this change anything? Maybe not yet. But stick around, because I have more to tell you about this company that might surprise you. Next, let's look at their reviews, because this was one of the biggest red flags that I found. On Hooks and Needles' own website, the numbers look almost too good to be true. At one point, there was over 1,500 5-star reviews, over 200 4-star reviews, and just one single 3-star review. There is no 2-star reviews and 0 1-star reviews. That's nearly a 99% positive feedback. The next day, after I tried to post my own review, those numbers jumped up to over 1,600 5-star reviews, still over 200 4-star reviews, and just that one single 3-star review. Still no 2-star reviews, and my 1-star review that I left using my email address that's tied to my account so that it could be verified was nowhere to be found. Since then, the total has held steady at just over 1,855 total reviews, and nothing has changed. What this tells me is that they probably post their reviews in bulk, periodically, either monthly or weekly, and it also tells me that they are selectively choosing what reviews are posted. It seems like the most critical reviews are being held from the website. We'll see if my review ever shows up. I'll update this part of the video so that you're aware of it, but as it is right now, my 1-star review that I attempted to leave is still not showing on their website. Now, when we compare the reviews on their website to the reviews on a independent third-party review source, Trustpilot.com, on Trustpilot, the distribution looks a lot more realistic. There's 68% 5-star reviews, 11% 4-star reviews, 9% 3-star reviews, 3% 2-star reviews, and 12% 1-star reviews. That looks much more like what you'd expect from a real subscription box service. Some people love it, some people are lukewarm, and some people are frustrated. The bottom line is that these glowing reviews on their website do not match the more balanced feedback you find on a third-party platform. And for me, that raises the real question about transparency. When you couple that with the fact that you have to really dig to see all of these other companies that they're affiliated with or associated with, it seems like they really have an issue with transparency and giving information to consumers so they can make an informed decision about what they want based on who is providing this service. Now, I tried to check one more place to see what the reviews looked like on the Better Business Bureau. Hooks and Needles itself is not registered with the Better Business Bureau. I did not find any other of the affiliated businesses except for Mrs. Quality on the Better Business Bureau's website. Mrs. Quality, again, is the organization that is listed as the owner of the trademark for Hooks and Needles. So Mrs. Quality, when you look at the Better Business Bureau's website, has an F rating. Now, on the Better Business Bureau's website, they list the reason for the F rating as Mrs. Quality having 2 complaints filed against it without a response and 8 overall complaints filed against it in total. It doesn't give any more details about that. However, looking at their Trustpilot reviews, it shows an organization that's constantly responding to reviews. So it's really interesting and telling that on the Better Business Bureau's website, they'll have complaints that aren't responded to, and complaints that, even if they were responded to, don't seem to be resolved satisfactorily. Now, maybe you're watching this and you're saying, Chris, I don't care about ownership and reviews. All I care about is whether I get what I pay for every month. And that's fair. So let's talk about what you're actually getting when you subscribe. The patterns included in the booklet are valued by Hooks and Needles at approximately $6 per pattern. But when I searched online, I found free versions of nearly all of their patterns posted on blogs or in video tutorial form. So while they tell you these patterns have a dollar value, in practice they're almost always free somewhere else. The quality of the notions are another weak point. The hooks that they provided in the kits, many of them were not polished and had parts that snagged the yarn as you were using it. The scissors, stitch markers, and other little freebies included in their monthly box are the kind of items that you can find on other drop shipping sites like Temu and AliExpress. And let's talk about the yarn. The yarn itself was very inconsistent. You rarely got more than 150 grams of yarn in the box. The color ranges are extremely limited to the colors in those boxes. Even the yarn options online are limited to the colors that are provided in their monthly kits. So if you do fall in love with the yarn and want to use it for other projects, you're still limited to those anywhere from 2 to 4 colors that are provided with that one specific type of yarn. Now let's talk about the value. Their website claims that each box will contain upwards of $85 in value. But I went through the literature that was provided in all 12 of my boxes, and not one of those boxes were valued by them at anywhere over $79.79. So when they say you're getting an $85 value, it's just not true according to their own numbers. And to me, that's false advertising. Now here's where things get serious for me. I've always noticed that the patterns in these boxes don't credit a designer. That bugged me enough that I started trying to look into if they had the designers listed online, and I didn't see it anywhere. I discovered multiple patterns in the Hooks and Needles kits that match free patterns already published online by independent crochet designers. One of them is the mosaic hat that I showed in my last video. That mosaic hat was designed by MJ's Off the Hook Designs. Another is the crochet eyeglass case by Jennifer from A Crocheted Simplicity. And another is the hexagon granny square bag that I found designed by Brianna K Designs. I reached out to these designers to ask if they had partnered with Hooks and Needles or licensed any of their patterns to Hooks and Needles for use in these subscription boxes. One of the designers did confirm with me that the pattern seems to have been stolen and used without their permission. The fact that at least one designer has already confirmed her work was taken without her consent is alarming. Now, to be clear, Hooks and Needles denies this. In an email response to me, they said, "We do not copy or use patterns without the proper permissions. Each pattern in our boxes is carefully crafted by our talented designers. We work exclusively with a group of skilled individuals who develop original patterns specifically for our subscription boxes." But when you put their statement next to the patterns found online and next to the confirmation from one independent designer who said, quote, "We have discovered Hooks and Needles is a scam operation. They have stolen several other designers' patterns. They do not have permission to use my patterns either." It's hard not to question Hooks and Needles' credibility in this situation. And even if some of their patterns are adapted or inspired by others, the fact that they refuse to credit designers at all is a huge problem. Independent designers deserve recognition for their work. Visibility matters, and Hooks and Needles is not providing it. So, why does all of this matter? Why am I making this video at all? Because at the end of the day, this is all about transparency and respect. transparency for consumers who deserve to know who they're supporting, and respect for designers who pour their time, creativity, and passion into a pattern that helps us all grow as makers. When companies take advantage of creators by not giving them credit, or worse, by outright stealing their work, it hurts the entire community. And when companies present inflated reviews and questionable value claims, it erodes trust with consumers too. I don't want to see new crocheters discouraged because they got a bad first impression from a kit that wasn't what it claimed to be. And I don't want to see independent designers pushed aside by companies that profit off of their work without acknowledgement. At best, Hooks and Needles is a company that lacks transparency and selectively provides information that makes them look good to consumers. At worst, they are a company that steals from independent designers, lies to consumers, and hides who they really are. So here's my call to action for you, my viewers, my subscribers. If you love Hooks and Needles and feel it's worth it, that's your choice. But I encourage you to do your research before subscribing. Look at third-party reviews, check out the designers whose patterns might be showing up in those boxes, and support them directly when you can. I also ask you to think about sponsorships. Hooks and Needles pays heavily for advertising on social media websites like YouTube, Instagram, and all across the internet. You can't scroll without seeing an ad, and they sponsor many crochet creators to build goodwill and trust. If you follow a creator who's sponsored by Hooks and Needles, maybe reach out and politely ask them to reconsider. Let them know about the concerns that were brought up here, because sponsorship dollars matter, and creators have the power to choose who they partner with and who they lend credibility to. Y'all, this world is full of excitement, horror, pain, and every range of emotion that makes us human. We've been through dark times and exciting times, and I'd be lying if I said our darkest days are behind us. We have the capacity to create some of the most inhuman acts possible, while at the same time, we are capable of demonstrating endless love. This channel is my way of using my creativity to put a smile on someone's face. I'm not perfect by any means, but the most important thing is to find where you can leave a mark on this world, whether it's with one person or with billions, and let that mark lean in the direction of good, lean in the direction of joy. Please, don't forget to love yourself and keep those creative loops going. Bye for now.